Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. We're still here with Storm. Oscar, this is good. It's good. It's good. Uh, it stops his breath, a pang within Asterion's chest, as sharp as a knife or spearhead, as he ponders what this man must have gone through, if that is his first assumption. It would be easiest to tell the usual fake story, that he was born and raised in the hotel by a family of Minotaurs long ago. That lie always held an allure he couldn't resist. Okay. But he cannot. Not to this man.
I knew my parents, but they were not like me. I grew up surrounded by humans. Then, sir, sorry, but if they were human, then how do you...
Asterion's mouth grows dry. Oscar's teary eyes had washed away any thought of lying to him. But neither could he tell the whole truth. Even without knowing much about this boy's past, from what little he has shown, the prince already fears it would destroy him.
It was because a curse thrown upon my mother. Due to something my father did. That's how I came to be the way I am. What about you? Did you know your family? I knew my mom, but never met my dad. She didn't want to tell me much about what he was like, but she always swore he wasn't a beast. I see. That is good. Yeah, and my friends and I've been been looking for this place for so long. Even now, I'm having a hard time believing we found it. That we found you. You were looking for me. You were looking for me. Yes, for weeks now. For the longest time, I thought. I mean, another Minotaur, right? I thought you'd have to to be just like the legend, living in a labyrinth or eating people. But I just show up and you tell me to come right in. Didn't even think twice about it. I can count on one hand the number of people who treated me decently. You know that. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm glad you know.
The hopeful lilt in the boy's voice, and the glimmer in his eyes, it sends ice-cold sweat pouring down Asterion's back as a fist clenches around his heart. The young bull has become at once more elated and more nervous with each passing exchange with who he has found, who he thinks he has finally found. Oscar shifts from one hoof to another, caught between surging forward and pulling back, caught between voicing the thoughts that gallop within his mind, and allowing the silence to grow stagnant. A half or a quarter syllable crawls up his mouth, half of his throat, more than a handful of times before he can steel his nerves.
Are you my dad? My mom's called Valeria.
Valeria? Okay. Sorry.
Dark hair, brown eyes, copper skin. She's from the Hinterlands, drowned tapir, and before I was born, she used to work at an inn, the town's biggest. She used to be beautiful. She's about 1.5 meters tall, but back then she kept her hair in a bun, worked as a maid, and during the weekends, she sing to the guests. She was beautiful and could make anyone laugh, and sometimes she'd cook fish from the north when her dad came back. My grandpa was a fisherman. She had a comb made from a turquoise shell, and she made a dress from seashells her mom got her. She wore it when she sang to the guests. Valeria's her name, but people back then used to call her Val, and she was kind and sweet and... Does any of that? I am sorry. I have never been to Drowned Tapir. I am not able to leave this place, Oscar. It has been a long time since I have been outside of here. Then, maybe she came here. I'm 21 years old, or maybe... The hotel and its surrounding lands have been abandoned for decades. It was only just recently that people from outside started appearing again. I have been living alone here for all that time. No one else has been here for far longer than 21 years.
The glimmer dies, snuffed out like a candle's flame, and the lilt has dropped from the boy's voice, leaving it bleak as the desert around them.
Oh. I am sorry.
What apology, what regret, what redress, redress? Okay, can be adequate for dashing a young man's hope.
Your mother sounds like a very nice person. I'm told she used to be, but she changed. I didn't get along too well with her, or with any of the people from my hometown either. Until a week ago, I didn't even know about charms. It was my friend, the other I came here with, who made one for me. For my whole life before then, everyone treated me like some kind of monster. God damn it. I don't know what I was expecting. Damn it.
The horns and bovine features, as though his reflection had stepped right out of the mirror to converse with him. And that word, monster, along with many similar epithets? Maybe. A taste so bitterly familiar upon his own tongue. And yet, what blasphemy it is to even think of those names placed upon this boy. Wait. Dewy-eyed and forlorn. The prince thinks of his Mr. Josh, a masterful lord of this kingdom, and that man's unshakable, inextinguishable belief in the bull of Minos' humanity.
I was treated like a monster too, Oscar. But I am not one, and neither are you. I knew my father, but that spared me not from tragedy. In fact, much of what I went through was because of him. Our circumstances may have been different, but I feel your pain. Were you not one of my kind, you would still have my sincerest condolences. But knowing that you and I are... It pains me twofold. I am sorry that I cannot be your father. But are we not kin regardless? I know these are mere words, and that words alone oft have little value. But I have never met another Minotaur before, and I cannot let this opportunity pass. I said before that would be a privilege to have you as our guest, and now more than ever, I must say it again. Would you be willing to sit at our table and share a meal? May I give you a roof and a bed, and introduce you to all the fine people we have with us tonight? May I get to know you? May I do whatever I can to make up for what you have been through?
Shelter. A warm place to rest his head. Food and company shared in abundance. All the things necessary for life to thrive. All the things he has gone without for so long. Oscar cannot keep the thrashing of his ears and tail in check. The calf within his chest cavorts in joy at the very idea. And that it would be shared with this man who looks so much like him. Not his father, but kin regardless. It is far better than any dream he has ever had of this night, of this encounter. Rumbling and pinching the charm in his ear, to keep the pecking hummingbirds at bay, that blessed charm which has allowed all this to come to pass. Oscar opens his mouth to bellow out an eager yes. And the word catches in his throat. His so anticipated meeting with this other Minotaur is not his only purpose for being here.
Mr. Asterion, sir. That sounds better than anything. But first, I gotta tell you something. My friend, the one who brought me here, he's a mythical too, and his grandpa used to work here. So I don't know the details, but his grandpa left something here, and he's looking for it. It's very important to him, like you wouldn't believe.
How long did the prince think and wonder, and fear as he sat in the cold room's darkness? Those old employees, those he could have called his friends, cast from the homes they've made, from what Clement's madness had made once more into his prison. And now, this night has brought to him not only this other Minotaur, but an echo from the dim and distant past as well.
Your friend is related to someone who worked here. Yes. What was his name? Can you tell me? I don't know the whole story, but his grams went by the name P. Just the letter. But that was a long time ago. Before World War II, I reckon. P's grandson?
Asterion's fingers curled as if he was holding his lyre. He sees again the cold room, and he feels every day, month, and year since 1942 chewing at his back. There is a delay as he commands his lungs to draw a breath, hitched, knotted, almost a wheeze, while the faces of 100 employees flash through his galloping mind. He almost goes cold, but that old regalia of Lord Hades' guard, his fresh title as co-owner of the hotel, the kiss sweet burning and wild which still lingers on his lips, it all pulls him back to wakefulness. Oh, my little darling, you were made strong to bear the yoke.
P's grandson. You know him? Of course, the green-feathered peacock from Brazil. He started working as security here, back during the war. He left his passport. Damn, I wasn't expecting you to. Sorry, but just how old are you? Far older than I look. By the 12. I must speak with him at once.
The prince turns and gestures for the boy to follow him inside, as they walked their sweet-sounding hooves. Despite the newfound urgency, ring out a joyous fanfare to herald their arrival. Together, the pair of darlings make their way into the hotel. And together, they step right into the middle of what had been occurring while they met under the starlight. The old stories, good master, has a habit of repeating themselves. However, forever and ever, fractals growing inward, accumulating deformities over the century. God, this sentence went awfully, didn't it? But never one deterioration del, delet, del, deleterious enough to put an end to their wow, just every word went God. I know, this it is what it is. You, who took such great pains to ensure all was as it should be for the sake of your darling, did you anticipate the tragedy brewing inside your home? The sun had set, and the first partygoers were filtering into the lounge. The food had been prepared, the wine had been set out, every beverage one could think of was made available as guests mingled with each other, and your diligently working staff. Okay. All this party lacked was the guest of honor. Your gaze wanders over to a sea of celebrants, hoping to catch a glimpse excuse me, of fine curved horns or a tender pink snout, but instead your attention was caught by a flash of red. Oh hey. Jean. He was standing in the midst of the crowd, holding a cup of darkest coffee in shaky hands. A word is warranted, wouldn't you say? He has graced the home you and your darling had built with many fine compatriots, and now graces your celebration with his presence. And so you step forward, dodging through the tangle of bustling bodies. But for a mere fraction of a second, the man was out of your sight as a guest crosses your path, and when you look again, he is gone. Jean? You call out, but no answer comes. He is not behind the counter, nor around the restrooms, and no one in the vicinity remembers seeing where he went. Could it be your mind playing tricks, good lord? Most certainly not. The fiend left behind a puddle of dark coffee where he's been standing. As you crash to examine it, you hear a thunderous rumbling.
Mr. Josh!
Robert, it's good to see you. Say, did you happen to see Jean around here?
I did, yes. He was here just a few minutes ago, in fact. But if you are looking for him, I am sorry to say I didn't catch where he went. That aside, I must burden you with an important matter.
What is it?
A guest ran up to me a short while ago, an elderly woman to be precise. I had talked with her a few times before. She's a rather difficult person who seems disturbed by a mental condition of some kind. She's given me many of verbal lashings, as she has taken an issue with my appearance. But tonight, there was something very, very odd about her. Where she ran up to me just now, she was crying because she saw a snake inside the hotel.
You mean like a garden snake or something? That is odd. There shouldn't be any animals in the hotel.
No, Mr. Josh. She described to me a snake man slithering and skulking around the hallways. Does the hotel happen to have a guest fitting that description?
There is someone, but he's not a guest. This can't be good. Robert, look for Asterion. This person may try to hurt him, so please watch over him while I deal with the situation.
Will do, boss.
You head out, swift-footed, with shoulders held high, as befits a lord. Meanwhile, the Panopetus sneaks like the proverbial thief in the night into the hotel. Actually, maybe I'll end the part here. And by maybe, I mean I will end the part here. So, yeah, I'll see you around, everyone.